Hey friends, find lesson 41. That's what we're doing today. The first direction says draw a 1 and 11/16 inch line segment. So we'll have other directions after that. We're going to make it longer. We're going to start with 1 and 11/16. So go to the inches side of our ruler. Start with the first measuring mark and 1 and 11/16. Now on the inches side, typically those smallest marks are 16ths. There's 16 of them that divide up 1 inch. So 11/16 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 16. So there's 1 and 11/16. Now the second set of directions says make it 3 and 1/16 longer. So start again at the first measuring mark. And we're going for 3 whole inches and then 1 little 16th after that. Okay, now it says how long is it now? Let's go back and measure it. It looks like it's 4 and 4, 8, 12, 13 sixteenths, 12 sixteenths. 4 and 12 sixteenths. Next, Miss Hudson drives a total of 47 miles each day to get to and from school. 47 miles each day to school. How many miles will she drive to and from school this week? Well, there are 7 days in a week, but let's consider how many of those days we go to school, because she's driving to and from school, right? So we only go to school 5 days a week. And then it's 47 miles each day for 5 days. So 47 times 5. I'm gonna get some scratch paper out. 47 times 5. Get your multiplication chart out if you need. 7 times 5 is 35. 5 times 4 is 20, and 3 more is 23. 235. So 235 what? How many miles? So we need to have an answer with a label. 235 miles. Oops, sorry, there you go. Next one. Circle the clock that shows 6:45 in the morning. So 6:45, and then we're going with morning. 6:45 means it's not quite 7 yet. In 15 minutes, it'll be 7 o'clock. So it's 6, and then the 1:45 means it's 6:45. And morning tells us it's a.m. So 6:45 a.m. is this guy right here. Now, 1:45, I believe I sent your math journal home, so if you need to look up that page that has clock terms on it, remember quarter after is 15 after, where the big hand's pointed to the 3. 1:45 is when the big hand's pointed to the 9, and that's 45 minutes after. AM means morning or before lunch, and PM means after lunch, after 12 o'clock. Elizabeth wants to buy, let me see. I need a little price sheet that's at the school right now that I don't have for this. Let me see what's on side B. Okay, so on your side, they gave you prices for these, so you can still do number 3. And I might just make up basketball and a radio. Okay, so I'm just gonna make up some prices for my side. So radio on the other side was $22.35. And a watch, let's say a watch is $11.40. Okay? She wants to buy a radio and a watch. Estimate the cost of the 2 items. So to the nearest dollar. So if it's 50 cents or more, we go up to the next dollar. If it's 49 cents or less, if it's less than 50, we go down to the previous dollar. Okay? So 35 cents is less than 50. That means we go down to $22. $11.40. 40 is less than 50 also. That means we go down to $11. So we were trying to decide between $22 and $23. Because when we're counting money, this is between $22 and $23. This is between $11 and $12. It's $11 and some change. So that's what we were deciding between. Estimate the cost, so $22 plus $11 equals $33. Now find the actual cost, so they didn't give me enough workspace. I wrote too big over there. So the actual cost is 22.35 plus, now the only important thing, the most important thing, when you are adding or subtracting with a decimal point is lining up the decimal point. So plus 1140, we add these because we're adding up the total. 5, 3 plus 4 is 7, 2 plus 1 is 3, 2 plus 1 is 3. So this number of our real price we have to pay should be close to this number, the estimated price we have to pay. It should be at least within a couple dollars. So the actual cost of $22.35 plus $11.40 is $33.75. Write the total amount of the 2 items as you would write it on a check. So we're going to write this in words like we would write it on a check. $33 and 75 cents. Now don't forget the cents. We do the number of cents over 100. So this is 75 cents out of $1, pretty much is what we're saying. Or 75 hundredths of $1. Next, which metric unit would you use to measure the following? Let me think if we have units of measurement in here that I can show you. Sorry, I didn't read that one when I read ahead. So, here. This page 27, there's 2 units of measurement. These are metric. So the centimeters are the metric side of your ruler. The inches are the customary side of your ruler, okay? Inches are what we use in the US. Metric is pretty much what the rest of the world uses. You'll notice metric is all tens and hundreds and thousands. Metric is actually way easier to use It's just that we are used to the US version, so that's what we use. So metric is millimeters, those are the tiniest ones on the ruler. Centimeters, those are the ones that are a little bit smaller than an inch. Meters, that's similar to a yard. Kilometers, the km, kilometers, that's similar to a mile. And the one that metric doesn't have that we have is a yard. A yard is is feet. And then a foot is about like a ruler length. And they go from a centimeter to a meter. They go from the tiny ones to like a yardstick size. And so, yeah, a foot is about as long as a ruler. And that's the one that doesn't really have anything comparable over here. So, okay. So, back down here. Length of a straw. So you can think of, can I get my camera to focus again? There we go. You can think of a straw, like a straw that we put in a soda to drink it. So it's about a little longer than a pencil, little shorter than a ruler, right? So what would we use to measure a straw? Say a straw is about this long. What would we use to measure it? Would we use inches, feet, yards, miles? I would use inches to measure this. Metric, would we use centimeters? Those are these little guys. Or would we use meters? That's about 3 or 4 feet long, 3 or 4 rulers long. I would use centimeters. Distance from San Francisco to New York City. Now, when we measure how far 2 towns are apart, even like these are super far apart, they're on other sides of the United States. We measure it in miles, don't we? So the customary is going to be miles. The comparable one for the metric is kilometers, km, kilometer, and that's similar to a mile, okay? And the distance from your front door to the street. So say you lived in town, like say the distance from the door of the school to the street. I would measure that. I could probably measure that maybe with feet or with a yardstick, like yards. So let's say yard, and that's 3 feet. And then if we were doing metric, I would use a meter because that's about the same as a yard. Okay, so if this is tricky, you can skip stuff if you can't find it, but what you can do if you want is to pull out page 27 and take a look at that, or Google it if you need to. Okay, circle the best way to estimate each of the following. Okay, 27. If we're going to estimate it, we would round it to the nearest 10. And we could go between 20 and 30, and the 7 tells us to go up to 30. And 39, we could go between 30 and 40. And the 9 tells us to go up to 40. So, over here's the one that matches. Let's do the same thing here, but I can see they want us to round to the nearest 100, right? So 462, we looked right to the right of the hundreds place, and we see a 6. So 462 is between 400 and 500, and the 6 tells us to go up to 500. Now 519, we look at the 1 just to the right of the hundreds place. 519 is between 500 and 600 when we're counting. And the 1 tells us to go down to the 500. So 500 plus 500 looks like it would be this one. Find each sum or product. It doesn't have to be mental computation. We can use scratch paper, that's fine. So 31 times 5, 5 times 1, 5 times 3, 15. 155. If you need to get a multiplication chart out for this, you certainly can. 42 times 6. What I really want to know is if you can know the process of multiplying. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 4 is 24, and one more is 25. 252. It's important to get those multiplication facts right, but you can always double check yourself. 62 plus 89. 62 plus 89. Now, don't forget we're adding on this one. 9 plus 2 is 11. Carry the 1. 8 plus 6 is 14, and one more is 15. 151. 2 times 4 times 5. Now, if these are all the same signs, and they are, they're all multiplying, then we can just choose 2 to multiply and then multiply it times the third one. So I can do 2 times 4 is 8, and then multiply that times 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Now, I can multiply a whole bunch of things, but if there's a 0 in there, then the answer is what? Anything times 0 is what? 0. 621 plus 295. 621 plus 295. 5 plus 1. 9 plus 2. Carry the 1. 6 plus 2 is 8, and one more is 9. 916. Oops, 916. All right, there it is. Take notes. Go ahead and do side B, and it would help. I sent home a bunch of fact sheets with your assignments, I believe, or you have IXL. It would help if you go in there, practice your multiplication facts, addition facts, subtraction facts. All 3 of those will help you out when it comes to starting to do this trickier math, okay? If you know those really well, it's going to help you out. Have a good afternoon.